cat. Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents, where we're just having too much fun already. With me this evening is the lovely Laurel Cox and Addie, who is camped out on the floor, and we will get her up in the camera at some point because that's part of what tonight's show is about. And welcome back to Mark Sheehan.
I feel like Ed McMahon over here. I'm the co-host.
We're back. Nice and cozy on the couch this evening, and we have. She's looking at me because she knows I'm gonna cry.
Don't fight it.
I know, right? Hey Zach, can we show Bonnie and Clyde? Oh, Zach, there we go. The big announcement is that Bonnie and Clyde are getting sprung from the joint.
Yay.
Yeah, big yay. Laurel's still waiting to see me cry. Paws New England has arranged for a foster home for them, and they will be leaving the Branford Animal Shelter sometime next week. Details are not really out there yet, but thank you to everyone who paid attention and helped share them and cared and was concerned.
Right.
Because this is a big one.
Not many dry eyes in the rescue community last night.
Oh no, when the news broke, I'll tell you, you know, I'm struggling now, but I was bawling like a baby. Forget about it. I was crying like I don't know, like I lost somebody.
Yeah, Facebook was on fire last night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. And it still is too. So all right, Zach, you can switch back the cameras, yeah, because you thought you were getting up from the chair in there.
Patty's got an itch.
And, you know, it's rather appropriate that it happened this month because November is Adopt a Senior Dog Month, which, again, is, you know, why we're here. But really quick, before we get into what's going to surely be a wonderful evening.
Absolutely.
Is a dear friend of mine, Mary Okendo, brought a group to my attention. You know, with all the devastation from the hurricane, there's a lot of people who lost everything. There's a lot of people who lost their livelihoods, and people are struggling. There is a group of groomers who have banded together to help each other out, you know, offering each other supplies and assistance and all kinds of things. And I think it's really fabulous. I mean, they're a very, very tight-knit bunch, and they do a lot to help each other. They're also... Mary contacted me and she was interested in finding out what shelters needed help. So I hooked her up with Lisa from Blankets and Bowls.
Oh, great. She's wonderful.
Yeah, she is. So she's going to be working with her to help out some of the shelters. But this groomers group, if you are interested in participating, is Groomers Needing Assistance After Hurricane Sandy. And they are on Facebook. That's Groomers Needing Assistance After Hurricane Sandy, and we will have that up on Pound Posse Presents page. You can see Addie's tail. So that's where that stands. And just a quick reminder about the mini golf event at in Southington tomorrow for Running for Rescues and the Southington Animal Rescue. That's between 12 and 5 if you're looking for something to do with the family that'll help out the animals. That'll be a good thing to check out, and that will also be posted on Pound Posse Presents page. And we want to say happy birthday to Mark.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We're not singing, though.
We're not singing. No, we're definitely not singing. Addie can give you kisses, but we are not singing.
Okay, I'll take that.
So anyway, Mark's birthday was Thursday?
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday.
29.
So, 29.
Finally got there.
Yeah, you know, you're just...
For the 23rd time.
Anyway, that was our birthday shout out for tonight, and you are it.
That was not in my notes.
No. I did not share that with you ahead of time.
No, I wonder why.
I can't imagine why. You know, girl's got to keep some things to herself.
Girl does. Yes, a girl does.
Anyway, so we are here. I mentioned Laurel once, not too long ago, as being the senior dog rescuer angel, and she really is. We've got Addie with us tonight, who is your most recent.
Yes, she is.
Tell us about Addie.
Well, Addelina is from the Hartford Pound, and they think, Addie, Come here.
Can we interrupt you, honey? Come on.
She's having a senior nap.
They think she's about 10 years old, but you never know it. She's,
There
here she
you
is.
go. Come on up.
She's amazing, and she's very sweet, and she's full of life, and she's just been a real joy and a welcome addition to my home. Shortly after adopting Addelina, I lost one of my other senior guys, Stanley. So that was very difficult, and she made it a little easier.
Yeah, that happened almost
It was
like
about
hand
2
in
weeks.
hand, yeah.
Yes. So
And that had to be really devastating.
it was. Yeah. It's always hard, whether I have them for 6 months or 3 years. It's never easy.
Maybe we can really quickly, Zach, can we bring up, you had Dusty,
Yes.
was one of the pictures that you sent me.
Dusty was he was a 3-legged dog, and he was a senior. He was my first senior that I ever adopted, and he was with us for about 3 years.
He's beautiful.
Yes.
And you were saying earlier on the phone that you kind of started with the handicapped dogs
Right.
and eased into the seniors. He was your
Exactly.
transition.
Yes. He was the first one, and he opened my eyes to the wonderful world of owning a senior dog. They're amazing animals.
And you've got a string of them. Zach, can we get the next one? There we go. You've got a string.
There they all are.
The brood.
Yes, Dusty, Gus, Harvey, Stanley, Barney, and now Miss Addelina.
So you've got them all up there, and if anybody can read that, good luck, because I sure can't. But I don't wear my glasses on the set.
It's
That
just
would
a
be
sad
horrible.
poem, and
Yeah.
adopt a senior.
Yeah, I read it earlier, and we'll leave it at that, because
Yes.
I was starting to get all misty-eyed.
Right.
And Mark is no stranger to senior dogs either.
I am
And,
not. In fact, Laurel and I tend to fight over the dogs
Yes.
Yeah.
when we used to work together at a shelter. So
Can we get a couple of pictures of Daisy up there for us, Zach?
little Miss
Daisy.
Daisy.
Okay.
There
There's
she is.
There she is.
That was my senior rescue.
Yes, she was a wonderful dog.
And where did she come from?
Laurel and I both worked at the same shelter for a while, and she had come in as an owner surrender at age 14, if you can imagine.
I
An
can't.
owner giving up a dog at 14, it broke my heart. And I was an approved foster at the time, so they asked me to take her home for a couple weeks and just see if she was going to be adoptable and what her habits were like and everything. And she was just a great dog. Didn't have any kind of issues. They had surrendered her because she was having potty issues. They said she was dog aggressive. I saw none of that. She never had an accident in the house. This is a 14-year-old dog who had she had some medical issues. She had a thyroid issue and arthritis, which is totally treatable and rather inexpensive to deal with. But the owners never took her to the vet. I think it would have been 5 years since she had seen a vet.
Wow, and especially at that age. All right, Zach, we'll
Exactly.
take the camera back. Unfortunately, it just seems that people bail on these dogs.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, none of us want to see any dog in a shelter, but the seniors just really break my heart, because most of these dogs have been nothing but loving, loyal companions their whole lives. And then, things come up as they do with age, and they may not be able to get up and down the stairs as easy. They may need to go to the bathroom more often, but you don't give up on them because of that.
No.
And I just want to tell a quick story about one of my seniors, my dog Gus, who I got from Ellington Dog Pound about 4 years ago. I went down to see him, and he had arthritis very bad, and they have no heat in that facility, and he was deteriorating very badly. Of course, a dog with arthritis in the freezing cold in the middle of winter. The family had given him to the pound a week before Christmas. So I took Gus, and I really thought he was had a very severe case of arthritis, and I really thought I was adopting him only to have to euthanize him. But I just did not want him to die in that shelter, even if I had him for 2 days.
Right.
But we got him on arthritis medication, and he lived for a year with us, and he did
Wow.
great. After a couple of days on arthritis meds, he was running around our backyard.
And out of the cold, I'm sure.
Out of the cold,
know?
yeah. So I'm sorry my dog is so aggressive, Mark. It's really awful, these pit bulls.
Yeah, you know, they're horrible.
Terrible dogs.
They're horrible.
So,
But yeah, you know, the sad part is that the dog gets older, the dog can't get around as well. You know, they make up stories. Oh, the dog's, you know, suddenly aggressive. We got a puppy and they're not getting along, so get rid of the old dog, you know. And you know, I hate that term, get rid of.
right.
There's 1,000 excuses. I mean, I don't get it.
I don't either. I couldn't imagine giving up on them. And
No.
I've had more than one person say to me, you know, why do you save the lives of these old dogs, these
Yeah, why do you
handicapped
set
dogs?
yourself up for the heartbreak?
Not even that, but just saying there's so many young, healthy dogs dying in shelters with their whole lives ahead of them. And I say, well, why are their lives worth any less because they're old? And why don't they deserve a loving home just like the younger dogs do? They all deserve a home.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, I've gotten my seniors. I mean, I have, like we were talking this afternoon, I have Duke and Bocce, who are both 10. Gidget is 7. They've been with me their whole lives. I mean, Gidget was the oldest of the 3 at 8 months old to come live with me. You know, so I get my seniors the old-fashioned way. They grow old with me.
Right.
I can't
As they
imagine.
should.
I can't imagine not having them. I can't imagine saying, oh, well, you know, peace, this one's old, or that one's, you know, this, or, you know, Kelly was 15 and a half when I lost her, and she was sick at the end of her life. And
Right.
how do you say, you know, that's it, you're gone because you're old?
Exactly.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, they deserve to have a quality of life and,
They do.
and not to die confused
Right.
and alone and at the hands of strangers in a shelter.
On a
Exactly.
cement floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's awful.
And I think what's intimidating to people about adopting a senior dog is the prospect that they're not going to be around for years and years. And that's very true. But I just can't tell you how rewarding it is to be able to take them in and make those last days, months, years comfortable for them. And especially people who say, well, I have kids and I don't want them to
Right.
break their hearts. And I understand that, but I think kids are more resilient than we give them credit for.
I think it's easier to teach them.
And if you teach
grief.
them and they know what this is, I mean, what a wonderful lesson to teach your children.
Yeah,
And-
compassion.
Because they're going to
Exactly.
need to go through it with a human at
Right.
some point. Their grandparent or somebody is going to die.
Right.
So, you know, having
Yes.
this to help them through that.
Yeah, it's a teaching experience, it's a learning experience, and I think it's a growing experience too.
It is, yeah.
Because, you know, you have patience with, you have a certain kind of patience with a puppy. You have to teach them how not to chew up your house. You have to teach them how to, you know, go outside. You have to train them to walk on a leash. You get a dog like this, it's all done for you.
It is.
Pretty much.
They may have some quirks, and, you know, they may have,
There's some things you have to figure out with them.
yeah, you know, you're uprooting their whole life. I mean, they've lived, good, bad, or otherwise, in an environment that's all they've known for a lot of years, and then they've gone through the shelter, which is, to some of them, just complete devastation emotionally.
Right.
And now they're in a home with strangers, and as much as you know their home, they don't know their home.
Right.
You know, it's there may be some party accidents, and there may be, you know, a few bumps in the road, but once they realize that this is where the love is,
But when
and
they turn that corner, boy,
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
there's nothing like it.
Right.
yeah, talk about it, Mark.
Well, like with Daisy, my sole purpose for adopting her was I didn't want her to die in a shelter on a cement floor overnight with nobody there. And at 14, a golden retriever, she's not supposed to live that long.
Yeah.
So
She's
I
already
thought,
in bonus years.
If I have her for
Right.
3 months, then I have her for 3 months. At least it's going to be a good 3 months. And you know, the funny thing is, I had moved back into my parents' house to take care of them because they were elderly, and we agreed to foster her for 2 weeks. And you know, I was sitting at the dining room table, and I said to them, well, she's got to go back, and she's going to go up for adoption. And my 79-year-old dad at the time said, well, why can't she just stay here? And I said, well, you know, are you sure you want to keep her? And he's like, well, why should she go back and sit in a shelter? So she stayed, and
Dad.
it wasn't 3 months, it was 3 years. You know, she
3
passed
years.
away in January of this past year, but
Yeah.
3 years just keeping her healthy, on a good food, on medications that helped her, and, you know.
Yeah,
And
isn't
she
that
was
amazing?
still, at 14, she was trainable. I taught her to sit, I taught her to high five.
Well, you're like the dog
I
whisperer anyway.
Yeah.
But when people say that dog's too old to learn anything, you're never too old to
No.
learn anything.
No,
It's
never.
the relationship you build with that dog.
Exactly. And, if you are willing to build it with a puppy who,
Right.
requires so much more from your time and your energy,
Right.
you can easily do it with an older dog.
Absolutely.
And the only real curve with that might be that communication thing. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, the dog is used to being communicated with in a certain way.
Right.
And so you kind of have to, that's a barrier that you have to you have to break down.
I taught Daisy all hand signals because I knew she couldn't hear at that point.
Right.
She learned it very quickly. She was just so happy, and this was now her home.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And you've had such a string of them, Laurel.
Yes. But as hard as it is to lose them, I mean, you wouldn't change anything in the world. You'd do it all over again with
I would
Daisy.
do it in a second.
Oh, yeah.
It's the joy they bring is just so outweighs anything else.
I can't believe, I mean, like, Speedo's sitting here on the floor. Addie's just soaking up the love. I mean, so much for your TV appearance, young lady.
Well, I think that every rescue dog, I think, knows that they've been rescued or saved. But I think the seniors have a little bit more of that innate knowledge that
Yes.
this
yeah.
is my new home, and they pick it up faster.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
just know.
they're settled. There's so much. What was that noise?
That was it.
This is an old lady noise.
It's like that groan, you know? She's just loving the love. It's really cool.
But I think the other fear that people have is the medical bills.
Yes.
And, a lot of vets will work with you if you tell them. I told my vet I rescued Daisy at 14. They discounted an awful lot for me. And when they had to euthanize her, they didn't even charge me for it. Now, is that going to happen everywhere? No. But, let your vet know.
At a
Tell them
certain
the
age,
stories.
there's no sense in being heroic either.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you've had some medical issues with Addie. She's got tumors.
Addie had tumors removed when I first took her in, but they were hanging off of her body, and if you notice when she walks, she kind of does this. She's just so used to having them there that I think that's just still how she walks. So they needed to be removed. But and I think I told someone who recently adopted a senior and had some issues that were a little overwhelming, and the veterinarian comes back at you and starts rattling off, well, there's this and this and this and this and this, and you're like, well,
no, you have to pick and choose.
exactly. And the first thing you do is you keep them comfortable.
Right.
If they have arthritis, then you manage the arthritis. But these are elderly dogs. If some of the issues they have that maybe if a 2-year-old had, you would
be
do
aggressive,
it.
yeah.
Right, but you don't want to put them. I
No.
never recommend that they be put through severe treatments for
Oh,
things.
no.
You just want them to be comfortable.
Right. I mean, even with my Kelly, there was the possibility that she had quite a few different conditions that all would have required invasive,
Right.
testing and procedures and biopsies. And, when she got sick at 14, no, I'm not doing that to her.
Right.
I'm not putting
Just
her
keep her
under
comfortable.
anesthesia. Yeah, I'm not
And
putting her under
it's-
anesthesia.
right.
I'm not letting you slice her and dice her and all of that. Let's take what we've got. Let's keep her comfortable. Let's take it step by step. And even when she had, she went into kidney failure. We managed it.
Right.
And that was, you can't reverse it.
No.
And there's a lot of animals, a lot of the seniors that have these conditions where no, you can't reverse it.
Right.
And you really shouldn't, the anesthesia is not good for them.
Exactly.
And all that stress and the pain and, just you take it one day at a time.
Exactly.
And again, you keep them comfortable and you manage the situation.
It's quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's absolutely,
So-
quality of life, you hear that a lot and you really have to weigh it out and decide what that is for the animal.
Right.
And, the flip side of not being heroic are the people who hang on for too long.
Yes.
And that's just selfish. You really do have to get in tune with the animal and understand where their comfort zone is.
Right.
And
it can be hard to do when you're living with an animal day in and day out, and you start to get used to seeing them in that condition. But
yeah.
you really, it's very important to not drag it out. And I might have been guilty with it at doing that a little bit with Gus, just because
Yeah, it's so hard.
He was my old crooked man, and then he started falling a lot, and then it was just a lot. And and I finally said, now I'm just keeping him alive because I want him alive, and it's selfish.
Yeah.
So there's that end of it as well.
Yeah, you do. You have to kind of like just say, all right, what's going to be that line?
Right.
And, you know, you see them fail, and I'm sure you saw that too with Daisy. I think I remember you posting.
Well, hers was very sudden. You know, she just started tipping over for no apparent reason, and the vet said it's a tumor on her heart, and that's, and you know, to me,
where are you going with that?
Right.
You know, she's not going to survive surgery, so, you know, it was very quick. She had issues. She had tumors removed on the outside, nothing internally, so they were easily treated, you know, but you just deal with it, and I wouldn't give back those 3 years for anything, and I would have another senior now if it hadn't been for you and your cronies, you know, with the Waterbury Pound having me foster a dog for a weekend that hasn't gone home.
And how long has it been?
Almost a year. It'll be a year in January. But, you know, I would have a foster, but, you know, having another dog in the house right now isn't really an option.
Yeah, well, you have to know your limits, you know.
Absolutely.
They're just not home enough, and, you know, one dog is manageable, but
right.
multiple dogs when you're not home much is it's just too much.
It is.
It can be a lot. Yes, it can. And I'm going to keep quiet from there.
I would have more senior dogs in my home, but you know, we can only do what we can manage.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So. And you know, that's another whole show about not taking on more than you can handle.
There's a beautiful senior at Bloomfield Animal Control right now.
I have her posted.
Named Gretchen.
Yep, I have her posted.
And,
if you look at Pound Posse Presents,
yes,
I put up some senior dogs, and I've had some people posting because I said, you know, let's do it. So there's plenty. If anybody's at all interested, there's plenty posted that you can see and maybe check out.
Yes.
I think knowing your breeds too, because you know, a 10-year-old Chihuahua is totally different than a 10-year-old Lab. A 10-year-old Chihuahua is still young. You know, they could live 17, 18 years. So don't let that, if you like a dog, don't let the age scare you. Just get out there and, you know,
I mean,
give them the chance that, you know, if it was a human, you would do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fact. The bigger dogs don't live as long, usually, as the littler dogs.
But keeping them healthy, I mean, look
you
at
never
Daisy.
know.
I mean, 17 for a golden retriever is
It's unheard of, really. I mean, I had a Shih Tzu that was 17 when I lost him. But that's, you know, you could say, all right, well, you know, it's a little dog, so it's kind of typical.
Right.
Look at her groaning on the floor. She's too funny.
She's giving you the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, right?
She's just a little ahead.
She's just a little ahead. I just want to like interrupt this whole thing for a second because if anybody remembers, we had Katie Cusack on from It's the Pits, and she brought her pit bull skirt, her pink pit bull skirt with her, and we showed that off. And I'm going to take Addie's leash, and Laurel is going to carefully stand up with her microphone on and show us. Go ahead.
Couch is really hard to get out of.
Yes, it is. She's going to show us
the new and improved poodle skirt.
Her new and improved black poodle skirt.
Covered with Addie's hair.
Covered with Addie's hair,
Addie.
yep. And I think that that's fabulous. I was like so excited to see that. Yeah, come on, Addie. I was so excited to see that Laurel wore that.
Come up and say hi.
Katie is just so talented with her stuff.
Nice.
Oh, what a baby girl. Now, how old is Addie?
They think she's about 10.
They think she's about 10.
But I'm not sure about that.
I don't know if I see it.
You can see, if you shine a light in her eyes, you can see the cataracts.
Right.
But that's really the only thing that would make you think she's old at all. She certainly doesn't act it.
No, she's actually, she's pretty spry from what I can see.
She is. She likes her naps, but
you know, the world can see her little butt wiggle. I think that's hilarious. Come here. Come here, baby girl. Come get me off of hair. It's okay. I'm used to it. You're such a pretty girl.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Girl. Can we get a little FaceTime for the camera? Oh.
Oh, she's shy.
Look, there, we got it. We got it. She's a good girl.
She is.
Addie, are you a good girl, honey? She says, why am I here?
I know. She says, adopt a senior. Look how cute I am.
Yes, it's Adopt a Senior Month, and so everybody should try it.
Yes.
And
you won't be disappointed.
You really won't. You know, the love that they have. we all know that I took Mojo in last year, and he's a couple years old, and he's a handful, you know, and I think he is, for the rest of my life, the youngest dog I will ever bring home. And that's just, you get a whole different patience level at a certain point in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got like the 10-year-olds and the 7-year-old and the 2-year-old. And, I mean, I think that I will definitely be shifting into that more of a senior frame of mind, only because it's so easy.
Right.
It really is. And
Right.
there's the thing to remember is that the seniors in kill shelters are at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so really you're doing a
And the
real,
bottom of the list as far as people looking at them.
yeah, they're the last ones people are going to adopt, and they're the first ones the shelter's going to kill because no one's going to adopt them.
Right.
So you really are, you know, you're doing a far more wonderful thing than you can think that you're ever doing, because they just don't stand a chance, half of them,
That's true.
you know. So really, it's Adopt a Senior Dog Month. If you're thinking about adopting a dog, consider a senior. And, you know, if you need advice, we're all here.
Right.
We're all very accessible. We're very reachable on Facebook. You know, again, I'll give out my email address. Posse Presents is my Facebook page. My email address is pawprints713@aol.com. That's pawprints713@aol.com. And I can put you in touch with Laurel, who's got plenty of experience, Mark, who's got plenty of experience. You know, if you need advice, if you just need some counsel, because you're considering an older dog, get in touch. It's not hard. We're here.
We're happy to help
Yes.
our seniors.
And so we've got credits. We're going to do it. Come on.
What's going on?
Peace, love, and dogs. It's Laurel's first time. For as many times as she's watched the show, she's going to pretend she's surprised
Once the
at this.
credits roll, she turns it off.
Yeah. Well, now we know you don't watch to the end, huh, Laurel?
I thought you just did it.
Oh, sure. Well, thank you guys very much for joining me tonight.
It was
and
my pleasure.
we're going to say goodnight. We're going
Good night.
dark. All right.